What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode on the Landscaping Podcast powered by Landscaping Unlimited. I am your host going solo today, Zac Small, and we are going to be talking about 7 frequently asked questions I have received. So these are things that have popped up in my personal life, not just on the job, not just online, but just in the day-to-day, talking with friends and people who knew me before landscaping, and then looking at where I'm at now and what I'm doing. People ask a lot of the same questions, and so I'm going to answer those. I actually wrote them down so that way I'm not going to miss any. Because sometimes you think about the questions, I have this tendency to just go out and start talking about all the things that are in my mind. And so I've realized it's best to write things down and address them so you don't miss anything. If you haven't already done so, make sure you like and subscribe. You know, you're following along on all the podcast platforms that we've got. I mean, we're pretty much hosted everywhere. It's pretty cool seeing where this podcast has gone and where it's going. I'm enjoying it. So I'm glad you guys are tuning in today. This is going to be pretty cool. Again, it's just me. Shay's out on the job right now. Sometimes it does get so busy that we can't link up throughout the week. So we're jumping on it today. And so today, Shay is cruising, doing his thing, and he's working hard with the guys. And I had the opportunity to record this podcast solo. Before I dive into these 7 questions, I do want to remind you that anytime you have a question, or if there's a topic you want us to address, you just got to hit us up on our socials. I mean, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, we're on Facebook, we're everywhere. So if you're thinking about things, just ask the question. And honestly, we enjoy getting questions, so it's not inconvenient at all. It gives us material to talk about because we know we're talking to the people that we are working with in our community. And even if you're somebody who is in Cambodia, or if you're in Alaska, it doesn't really matter where you're listening from. Just one, let us know where you're listening from, because that's pretty cool if somebody's in Cambodia or Alaska. But 2, you know, the topic's the topic. And so we would love to speak to and address the things that are on your mind, because we're talking about the things that are interesting to us, the things that we come across in our day-to-day, not necessarily what it is you want to hear. And not that we're going to pander or cater the show to you, but if there's something you'd like to know, like we enjoy talking about these things, and so we can definitely incorporate that into any episode. So again, I'm putting the ask out there of you that if you do have something, just bring it to us, because we'd love to talk about it. Now, let's dive into these 7 questions that I frequently get. Question 1, what is the weirdest or most outrageous thing you've had to do? So there are a lot of things I've had to do that are pretty weird and outrageous. You find yourself, especially in our company, again, we don't just mow lawns, we don't just weed eat. We do those things and we maintain large businesses. And so you could think of all the things that could go on with just mowing or weed eating, the stuff you're going to come across, the people you're going to engage with, interact with. But because of the nature of this company specifically, and that we'll do anything outdoors, we find ourselves in a lot of unique environments. Now, one of the coolest things this company has done, at least from my outside looking in, I think it was really cool that Landscaping Unlimited was a part of the Beast Games. I wasn't a part of it. I hadn't been hired on at that point. I was talking to them and I saw them going through it. And so season 2 is out now. They're operating. And when you look at the turf, like we built that, which is pretty cool to see that Landscaping Unlimited built something that's on TV and it's on Netflix and it's going around doing these things. So I would say that's one of the coolest things. Some of the most outrageous, I can't legally share here. So if you're in it, you get it. You know, it's just like the military. It's just like a lot of places, like you had to be there. Like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But yeah, you find yourself in some pretty cool and weird situations where you've got to just get the job done. There have been situations where you're in the middle of nowhere and you're just looking around with the guys to your left and to your right and you're wondering what's going on. Like we've been attacked and had to like face beavers. Wildlife is definitely a thing that we've had to deal with. And so that's always fun and it's a little outrageous. Hey, using the bucket of an excavator to get guys into and out of the job site, that's a thing. Having somebody call waiters a wetsuit or a water suit, that these things come to mind. So they're some of the funniest things that I've had happen. One of the funniest things to happen on a job, and I will never forget this for the rest of my life. Tyler, brother, shout out to you. I'm not making fun of you. I'm laughing with you, not at you. But we had Tyler Rowe working for us. Tyler is a good friend of mine, and shout out to him and his lady. They're having a baby soon, so super excited for that family. But Tyler was talking to me and one other gentleman, and he was frustrated at something, and he went to take a step, and he stepped on a rake, and that rake flew up and smacked him right in the forehead and the face. And I will never, it was like something out of the Looney Tunes or the cartoons. Like, you know, you see Bugs Bunny or somebody like stepping on a shovel, hits him in the face, they turn around, step on something else. He legit smashed himself in the face with a rake. And it's one of the funniest things because he was mad up to that point. And have you ever been so mad and something goes wrong and you just like, everybody kind of stops because they're like, oh my God, they're going to erupt. I remember my stepmom one time, we were giving her a hard time and she was stressed, like something was going on. I think we didn't put the dishes away and like we just kept slacking off. We were messing with her and she bent down to grab something. And when she stood up, she hit her head on the cabinet. And I legitimately thought I was going to die that day because if you're mad and then you hit your head or you stub your toe, there's no level, it's an inferno that's going to follow that. And that person's going to unleash it on the person closest to them. And when Tyler got hit in the face with the rake that day, or my stepmom hit her head. Like in both those situations, I was one of the closest people and I was terrified for my life. And so that is one of the funniest moments, and that is one of the craziest things to happen. I mean, like I said, we find ourselves in a lot of predicaments, but we're not going to talk to you about that. But if you want to find out, come join the team, and you'll find yourself experiencing some things that you're not going to find in your average 9 to 5 or cubicle life. Question 2, and this is a really cool one. If you could go back and tell your pre-landscaping self one thing before jumping into the industry at 35, what would it be? If I could go back and talk to Zach before I joined Landscaping Unlimited, I'm not sure I would tell him anything except, brother, you're going to enjoy this, so like don't go into it with the nerves that you have. Because when I first joined, I was like, I kind of had this vision of like, should I have continued work? I was working full-time online. I was running an online community, I was podcasting, I was blogging. You know, a lot of things you see us doing here, I brought that world into this world. And so my pre-landscaping self, I was working for myself. And so I bought my house with internet money, all the things that I had, my vehicle, everything was paid for with money I was making online. And I chose to step away from that world. You know, it's not like business went bad and I had to figure it out. It's like I left that world, and then just slowly the funds followed. You know, it started to decrease each month because I wasn't as active. I wasn't engaging. I wasn't doing the guest posts. I wasn't going and giving speaking events. I wasn't doing anything. And I stepped away for reasons of my own. And in that, I went back and forth on like, is this the right decision? Because I'm the primary breadwinner for my family. And so I had to figure out like, am I doing this because I'm stubborn? You know, and I'm just trying to stick it to that industry and I just want to go out and do my own thing at the expense of my family? Or is this me making the right move and just transitioning when it's time to transition? And I think if I could go back and talk to that Zach, I would tell him like, you're making the right move. Like you're doing the right thing, stick to your guns, always align yourself with truth. Don't worry, it's gonna be great, because I found out that I love landscaping. I really enjoy this industry. I enjoy what it's all about. I like building things. I like being outdoors. I like being in a male-dominated environment. I don't like to live in the world where it's PC and you always got to watch what you say. You're stuck in the buoys and you're in a tie or a suit, or you're always doing the same thing on an assembly line. Like, I like being in a place where there's a lot of camaraderie, a lot of fraternity. Again, I ran a men's community. My background is the military. Before that, it was football. And so there's like a lot of team things with other men. And so finding landscaping, it's a male-dominated environment with guys who just like, they have kind of the same mindset of wanting to build things, wanting to go out there, wanting to do hard things, not complaining and just getting the job done. And so if I could go back and talk to myself, I would just let me know like, hey, it works out, man. And I thought it would, I knew it would. I wasn't gonna let my family starve, obviously. I took the job, my wife found the job, and I was like, all right, this is gonna be like my backup job. I'm gonna take this job and I'm just gonna do this to get some money, and like maybe I'll decide what I wanna do online. And I ended up, again, loving it. And so I stayed there for a year and a half before going to teaching, which is something else I wanted to do. And then basically I had to make a choice. Do I want to be a teacher or do I want to be a landscaper? And I chose landscaping. I'm just more suited for this. I enjoy what I do. Like I said, I'm happy sitting here doing this podcast. I enjoy this part of it too. Like I very much enjoy creating things. I'm a photographer. I run a podcast. I run our blog. I do a lot of writing. I have my own blog. So there's a lot of me that's still tied to that electronic world. But I would say I'm built to go out in the real world and do things. Engaging with the youth, coaching athletes, teaching, like, I don't know. I can't just live online. I can't be like an influencer. I've got to be somebody who's a hybrid where I do both sides of it. And so giving myself that state of mind of like, hey man, don't worry, don't be nervous. Like don't let that unknown get to you. That could have taken some stress off me because I really wasn't sure at the time. I just knew I was going to do my thing. I thought I'd be mowing lawns, to be honest. I thought like the whole time I would just be on a lawnmower. And so I did the exact opposite of that. I did anything but mow. And like, surprise to me, that was one of the best decisions I could have made. And I got to meet Shay, one of the coolest human beings in North Carolina. And so it was pretty cool to come across that individual. I mean, his whole family. I enjoy his brother. I enjoy his wife, his kids, his brother's wife, like the whole family, his mom, all of them, like the whole Brick House family. It was really cool to come across them because they're good people. And I don't think I would have met them otherwise because they're in Bath. I'm in Belhaven. We're like rival towns. And so there was no need for us to really engage or interact. So this actually really worked out on a personal level as well as professional. But if I had to go back to answer that question and tell myself something, I wouldn't change anything. I would just say, hey, dude, definitely do it. It's the best thing you could do for yourself. Question 3, what's the biggest myth about the perfect lawn that drives you nuts? And what's the real world alternative homeowners should aim for instead? This is awesome because this aligns perfectly with the podcast that we had. Whatever episode it was that we were talking about the perfect lawn. That is the misconception. That's the myth. You think you want this perfectly striped and manicured lawn, but like that requires a lot of money to maintain if you're paying someone to maintain, or it requires a ton of time if you're the one maintaining it. You got to be out there every day, every single day, for you to have that perfect striped, perfect everything lawn. Or you've got to be paying somebody to maintain it, and you've got the funds for that, which is fine. But more often than not, and I dropped a piece about this today, is you've got to give yourself some grace. If you're a parent, your children need to go play in that lawn. You don't need to worry about them stepping on the grass. You don't worry about them ruining the plants. And if you're somebody who's a gardener, well, then don't worry so much about all the aesthetics. Make that thing functional. Get a living garden. It doesn't have to look beautiful. It's got to be beautiful. And beauty has flaws, but those flaws are actually features because that's what makes it like interesting. Going out and seeing the plants kind of spreading out and doing their thing, like you're watching life. You're watching nature do what it does. It grows, it lives, it takes over. And so to me, like I don't think the perfectly manicured lawn is the perfect lawn. You know, like I know what it's called. Like it's like when you look at a model, they're flawless, they're amazing, they're perfect. Their eyes, their eyelashes, their eyebrows, their skin, their lips, their smile, everything's perfect. But dude, like true beauty is found in people who are real and authentic and engaging. And I think if you have a real and authentic lawn, you know, and again, it's objective. I mean, it's subjective, looking at like what that looks like. But to me, the biggest mistake is that you think there's something wrong with you for having some weeds in your yard. Man, if you're a connected family and you're out there having fun with your kids and you got some patchy areas, well, that's fine. That's because your kid's a catcher and he's always squatting down in that spot, or your dog's always running around having a great time. So there's nothing wrong with you for having a well lived in property. You know, you're meant to live in that lawn, not just look at it. It's not supposed to look nice, but don't ever touch it. My grandmother, she had this reading room in her house, and I never understood it because we weren't allowed in there. It was really clean all the time and had all the really nice things in it. My sister would go play piano in there. Sometimes we would go and watch TV in there, but like that was her reading room, and that was a really, really clean space. But I was like, what is this for? You know, like this is a whole space in the house that we're not allowed in. And maybe it was just her getting room from us three kids. But on the other side, in my house, I would never have a room dedicated to just looking nice. Like to me, it's all about functionality. It's all about, there is an aesthetic to it, but it's about use. And so like I want to build a beautiful body that I use. You know, it's gonna have scars, it's gonna have bruises and cuts. That means I'm living and I'm doing things with it. Well, the same thing goes for your lawn. And the biggest misconception is that there's something wrong with you for not having that perfect weed-free lawn. Like have some weeds in it, you know, if that's what it's gotta be for you to enjoy it. Don't sit there and get mad at yourself for having something that you enjoy. Like that's crazy to me. 4, what's the funniest on-the-job disaster you've personally been a part of, and what did it teach the crew? So I've almost put a tractor through Shay's house. And I was trying to move a dumpster with a tractor, and I almost ran over Shay, and I don't remember if it was Ross or his uncle Russell, but Shay was definitely there. And I rode that thing like a Bronco. And at one point I was literally airborne. Let me explain something. I'm from Rhode Island. I didn't grow up on a farm. I didn't grow up with like friends who did dirt bikes or anything like that. So I don't know anything about I didn't know anything about operating equipment when I got to Landscaping Unlimited. I had to learn it all. I had to learn how tractors worked. And so like people will see kids operating these things and they laugh because like, oh, he's learning. Well, try being a 35-year-old man. You're like, you can't figure out how to get the bucket to move at the same time as the wheels, and you're using the excavator. If you look at our excavator, there's a busted out side of the door from 3 years ago. Shay, we really need to get that door fixed because it's a sign of shame for me. But I was clearing out, and I was feeling really good because I made a bunch of mistakes. And like little dings here, little dings there, almost hitting a house, almost running people over. These things in my learning curve. And I finally felt like I had it. And so I was out at our dump area where we dump a lot of our like stumps and bushes and branches, things like that. And it was starting to pile up because we've been doing a lot of land clearing. And so my job was to move it all to one area. That way the trucks could still get in and we could start dumping another part and just kind of pile the stuff up on one side. Well, I had it piled up, and when I turned to grab like some more, I had put a huge stump on the top of the pile thinking it would stay there, not realizing you probably shouldn't do that because if it doesn't stay there, it could crush a person, a truck, the equipment that you're in. But when I turned around, it slid down, and so when I turned back, I slammed the door into that stump, and it hit I think it was the oil system. So that thing shut down. I started having flashing red lights in the excavator. Dude, I don't even know how to describe what was happening, but every single alarm went off. The equipment stopped running. I was just like, it's like being inside like Star Trek when they get hit by like a missile or something. It's like there's fog, like in my head at least, in my memory, it was flashing alarms and noises and lights and fog, and I was just freaking out. And it was raining, and I was just like, man. And so I shut the equipment down, hoping it didn't catch on fire. I didn't know what happened still to this point until I got over to the door, and I was like, oh my God. And when I could pry it open, there's oil everywhere. But I called Shay, and I was like, dude, I didn't even know what I did. I didn't know what really had happened. So I didn't, until later process that the stump had smashed the excavator. I didn't know how to tell him what was broken because oils everywhere. So I was like, bro, the thing hit the thing and it's not working. Like I need help. And I, to this day, like it's a running joke because I'll be like, yo, the thing hit the thing. You know, I couldn't find my words. I was caught up. You know, I was probably like a little nervous because I'm like, I just broke one of our biggest pieces of equipment. And I was like, dude, damn. And so I'm sitting there and I text Jackie. I was like, yo, I hope I don't get fired today. I just broke the excavator and sent her a picture. And she's like, what is wrong with you? I was like, I don't know. I was trying to do the right thing. I was trying to work and get this knocked out, and come to find out, like, I put like a 400-pound stump into the side of our equipment. Not great. So that was probably one of the craziest things or most chaotic things that I was personally involved in. But I mean, putting the tractor through Shay's house, that was pretty close. Glad I didn't do that. Next question is, how has your Navy background made you better at running a landscaping company? So I don't run the landscaping company. I help with the operations. I assist Shay in the day-to-day running of the company. So he's the one running the company, just to make that clear. But how does being a veteran help me? I think my standard, like the bar that I have as to what's a stressful day, what's a bad day, like what's hard work, is so high that I'm never the person you're going to see complaining about anything. When it's hot, I'm fine with it being hot. When it's cold, I'm fine with it being cold. If it's raining, I'm happy that it's raining. When it's stressful and like shit's hitting the fan and it's just going a little crazy and sideways, like that's when I lock in and I'm having the best time. Like I enjoy the chaos that's around that. I enjoy, and again, because of the Navy, like I've been exposed to sleepless nights, extremely bad foods. I have been exposed to like very, very harsh environments. And so therefore I'm super comfortable in almost any environment. Like people talk about food being bad and I'm like, this is amazing because I've had ship food. I've had grade F meat. Like I've had all the things that people don't want to have and they make fun of. That's why I put hot sauce in like almost everything, because it's just a habit. But it helps me in landscaping because again, I enjoy this. I also understand the importance of leadership. Leadership is heavily, heavily promoted and pushed inside the military. And so developing that skill and learning how to be a good leader, that has helped me immensely because I understand people. I understand the importance of people. I understand you've got to connect with your men. I understand there's a time to push extremely hard, but there's also a time to pull back and listen to see what they've got going on. And that's an important part of this because in landscaping, a lot of times it's like, all right, do this. And if you don't do this, you got to get a new job. Well, sometimes it's like, hey, do this. Like, what's stopping you from doing this? And you start to ask, I've learned as a leader, I've got to ask myself that question. Am I doing something or am I not providing something that will help them do their job? And so just simple things like that has helped me immensely in this career field because, again, my bar for what's tough is so high that you can't shake me. I do not have bad days. You're not going to outwork me. I'm not going to quit and give up on our team. And at the same exact time, I'm going to make sure that people around me are doing well and they have what they need to win. Confrontation is not an issue. I also am very comfortable going directly to somebody and saying, hey, here's the issue that I have with you. We've got to address this because, again, that's a part of leadership. But more so than that, being able to reach out to them and connect with them, they see that I actually care. Like I actually do care about this. I enjoy what we do. And that in itself, coming across as somebody who runs operations. I just had a dude on Facebook say I'm brown nosing or I'm kissing ass to Shay because I said that I would work on rain days. But like, listen, that's what I taught. That's what I learned in the military. Like you don't go home every time you're allowed to go home. Sometimes you stay and you take on extra duties and you learn extra things and that way you can get promoted. And so the guy saying I was kissing ass, I was like, bro, this is exactly how people succeed. And that mindset, that's like a poor mindset, thinking that somehow you're sucking up by working harder. Like I was getting paid to stay late and learn those things. I was getting paid to learn. And it's obviously shown. I now run our digital division. Shay has trusted me because I've learned all these elements. There's no way I could do this job or I could even consider putting the word operations in my title if I didn't understand all the things that we have going on. How we engage with clients, the software that we use, how we price jobs, how we lead our men, how we go out and find the right clientele, as well as the right employees. So all these things, being a part of hiring, like I'm involved in all the operations of this company. And if I didn't know how that worked, well, then he wouldn't have as much of a need for me because I couldn't bring the value. I wouldn't have the skill sets needed to help him. And so by staying late and learning those things, stuff I learned in the military, I've been able to promote myself up through the ranks within this company. It's different with like ranks. That's not really how it works. It's not military like that. But I mean, for anybody in the industry, like you get it. Like you become that guy. You become him. You're the one that is dependable, reliable, setting the standard, representing the company well. I do that because the military instilled that kind of discipline and that standard of excellence within me. It showed me how to be my best self, and I've just taken that and run with it. And I mean, these are lessons, like I separated in 2014, which is wild because that's 12 years ago. But if I close my eyes, I can see it like right now as if it was yesterday. but those lessons stayed with me for over a decade. Like everything I learned in the military is still here, and it still drives me to go and be my best self. It's just like a switch that turned on, like that has never turned off. And so I would say that for all those reasons, like that's what the military has best done for me, and that's how it set me up for success within the landscaping and hardscaping industry. All right, next question. What is my top tool and top piece of equipment? All right, my top piece of equipment is easy. It's the Dingo. What we call the Dingo, AKA the landscaping assault vehicle, AKA it gets every job done. It's heavy enough to move big things. It's light enough to go anywhere. It's easy to operate. It has so many attachments that it can dig trenches. It can level the ground. It can carry rolls of sod. It can scoop things up. It can dig things out. Like it has auger. Like you can literally just dig a hole to plant trees. I love the Dingo. I have been very open about that in public about it. If they ever needed a testimonial, and honestly, I should reach out to this company. I don't even know the name of the company. Toro. I think it's Toro. Reach out to that. Like, you're not going to find a better testimonial than mine. I freaking love that machine. I think it should be on every job that we do. It is fantastic. And again, it's one of the ones that you can just jump on, get it done, jump off, easy day. Life is good. And it doesn't take much to move around. When it comes to my favorite piece of, like, my favorite tool, that's a more difficult question because it depends on the job. Like, I think we have many tools that are really good for the jobs that we're using them for. I think the transit's a really cool thing. It's a laser that spins around. You can set your level so you know the height. Even if you're like 100 yards away, you can set it and you'll know, am I high or am I low? I have a Gerber my wife bought me for Christmas, and I've been using that thing nonstop around the house. So, I mean, when it comes to landscaping, I probably have uses for it there as well. I mean, like a multi-tool, you know, everything's a knife, but if you have a good knife, that's also fantastic. A good shovel, also fantastic. So I can't really think of a single piece of equipment. I'm trying to think of one like as we're talking, but I don't want to just make something up either. And so as of right now, nothing is really standing out to me outside of depending on the job. Like for certain jobs, there are certain tools that are really cool. We've gotten to use a lot of cool things. If I had to pick something that's really cool to use in a job that I really enjoy, it's a sod cutter. If you've never seen a sod cutter in action, it legit will just strip out grass for you and make the job so easy compared to having to like shovel it out or like rake it out. So the sod cutter is definitely up there. I'm not sure if that counts as a tool, but definitely a piece of equipment that I enjoy whenever we need it, that it's there because it makes the job so much easier to do. All right, question 7. If someone messaged you today saying they're burned out from their 9 to 5 and thinking about starting a landscaping company, what is your no bullshit advice? One, I love that they said no bullshit advice because that means they want the truth. All right, here's the truth. If you think that you're going to go out and start a landscaping company, or if you're going to go out and join a landscaping company, you'd better be ready to work. You know, the biggest thing that I see is people that don't want to do jobs. They don't want to carry rocks. They don't want to carry bricks. They don't want to have to go out in the heat or the rain. You know, like that's the biggest thing I've seen that really catches me by surprise. Like, this is landscaping. You have to be out in the world. You're not going to sit in an office or sit in a truck and watch people work. Like, you've got to be ready for that. And I can't tell you how many times people have said, I always work in the woods, and then when we're out in the woods, they're vomiting. I always work in the heat, and we're carrying bricks in the heat, and they're vomiting. Well, I can always do, like, it's, people always say they can do these things. It's like, just do the things. Like, stop saying you can do it. Don't tell anybody you can do anything. Just go out and do the thing, and they'll see that you can do it. You know, there's a lot of, I'm a great landscape. I know everything about landscaping. Sweet, man. You're going to join this crew, and you're going to go over here. We go and check the job they did. Horrible. They didn't edge. They didn't weed eat. They didn't blow anything down. They just drove really fast through it, thinking that they got it done quick. Dude, if you're going to work with Landscaping Unlimited, our focus is on providing a premier service, and that is not the fastest that you can do. It's the best that you can do as quickly as you can. And the goal is to do it absolutely amazing quickly. But dude, people coming out and thinking, you want no bullshit advice? My no bullshit advice is if you're going to run a landscaping company or join a landscaping company, you had better just show up and work your tail off, because this is not an industry that is for those who don't want to work hard. It's honest, and you've got to do it yourself. Nobody's going to do it for you. The equipment's not going to be able to do it for you. Don't put it on the client to just accept subpar performance. If you want to do it, be ready to work hard, because that's what we do day in and day out. That's what all of our men do day in and day out. And there's no limit to how far you can go if you're willing to do that. But I have not seen as many people as I wish I have seen who have that work capacity and that desire to just grind and hustle and do whatever it takes to get the job done. A lot of people want to show up late, leave early, put some effort in, and that's just not, you're not going to find success if you do that. So if you really want to win in this industry, you've got to go out and you've got to hustle and push yourself. All right, those are the 7 questions that I frequently get. I appreciate you guys tuning in. This is a cool episode to do because I kind of got to share my insight and just let you kind of see inside my world as to my experience and some of the things that I've had people ask me. And so looking at that, I really hope that you guys are enjoying this podcast. We're going to continue to bring the best service that we can to you. But if you have anything that you want to bring to the table, be it a question or a topic or anything like that, reach out and understand that, like, as Shay and I, we're podcasting, we're sharing all these things. We're also fathers, we're also husbands. So we're balancing that with our families. And what's amazing is seeing this take off and people getting to know that part of us as well. And as all of our guys, as we continue to have guests on, you're going to see more people that are people. You're going to see more individuals that are unique, and they're not just the job that they do, but you're going to be able to learn about their expertise. You're going to learn about their backgrounds and what makes them them. And so now you know a little bit more about what makes me tick and what my experience has been here. But I would love to hear from you guys as to, like, hey, what do you got going on? Or what still hasn't been answered or addressed on your end that you're really curious about that Landscaping Unlimited can provide? And for all the other landscapers that are watching, the hardscapers that are watching or listening, I hope you guys are seeing the value in sharing your story as individuals, because people want to know people. You're not just the business. You're not just the dude who mows the lawn. And if you are just the dude who mows that person's lawn, how great would it be for that person to know you a little bit better? Because you're no longer just the mowing guy. You're Joe or Mike or whatever your name is. You're somebody that they know and connect with, and therefore relationships formed, and therefore you are more a part of their life. And that is how your business continues to grow, because they'll recommend you because they feel like they know you. And so share your story. I'm all for more podcasts, more YouTube channels, more social media growth. I think everybody should be doing it. I don't see why people aren't. I'm glad that we are. And I'm just basically telling everybody else, like, catch up. Like, this is where it's at. And I really hope people do, because it's not just a green industry thing either. This is like the world that we're growing up into. This is where we're headed. With all the AI going on, there's a lot that can be done with the computer. A lot can be done with the machine, but it can't tell you human stories. It can't tell you lived experiences, because for the machines, they are created, they are owned, they are controlled. But your life experiences are your own. You lived this, you did this. Nobody told you. Like, you had that experience, and you can share it with others. And so me coming on here and letting you guys hear my story, it's letting you get to know me a little bit better. It's also letting you know Landscaping Unlimited a little bit better, and it's real. This isn't a show. This is just us talking about what it is we're doing. There's no bragging. There's no adding or fluff or exaggerating anything. Like, we are who we are, and we're talking about it, and we're very proud of that. And if you have something that you want to bring to the table through your industry, I think you should do that. I think you should go out and just share your story and let people know who you are, and let them see what it is you're doing. And if you sell bracelets, or if you sell this or that, or you do hair, my wife does hair, I'm always telling her, like, talk to people. Let them see who Jackie is. And so whatever it is you do, like, let them see what you do. And then I'm sure you're going to see sales increase. You're going to see your engagement go up, and you're just going to start to connect with people who are going to enjoy you for doing what it is you do and the service that you bring to the world. So go out, serve your community, let them know who you are, create some outlet where they can start to see your story, even if it's writing. Share your story through writing, some notes here and there, but do something. Be a part of the story that's going on. I like the electric farmers market we got going here. And so when people go online, they have options as to who are they going to listen to, what are they going to see, what are they going to like and share and subscribe to. And so for me, it's like at the farmers market, I go to people I enjoy the most. And so what Shay and I are doing with the company is just letting you guys see us and come on over to the tent, ask your questions, enjoy. And if you want to buy the product, we are happy to work with you. You just got to send that message. So you guys stay well. Thanks for listening to this podcast. It's been another episode on the Landscaping Podcast, powered by Landscaping Unlimited.